Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing more of a casual video than my previous uploads. I'm just going to be giving you a tour of my Genshin Impact account. I am AR59 and I've been playing for a little over a year and a half now, and I just wanted to do this account tour before I hit AR60, which I think will still take me several more months at the very least. Anyway, let me just go right on into my character archive here. You can see these are the characters that I have and do not have. And I'm just gonna scroll down to my Amber. And yeah, so my starting date was July 25, 2023. And actually, when I first started the game, I didn't really play that much. To be honest, it was like I just didn't really care, about the story or the characters. And I feel like with such a huge game like Genshin, it can get pretty overwhelming for some new players. So it wasn't until like October or November of 2023, I want to say, that I really started to get into the game and started transitioning into the daily player that I am now. So I think next up, I'll just talk about my characters and briefly overview their builds. Before I do that though, I do want to say that I am not free to play. I basically always have a Welkin active on my account, and for the last several months I have been getting the lower tier battle pass. The resources that the battle pass gives me is just so important. I really need the Mora and the XP books and such, so I've really been relying on the battle pass a lot. And then I do occasionally purchase top up crystals as well. I am a little sick right now, so I apologize if my voice is a little congested. Hopefully it's not too bad. And I also did buy a new mic, so that could also be why my audio might sound a little different. So let me just go right on into my character menu here. These are the characters that I have built. By the way, I will be hosting a small giveaway for this video. I'm giving away this Xilonen figurine from the Pop Mart Genshin blind box collab. FYI, this is already opened, but I happen to have an extra figurine, so I'm giving it away. I'm also giving away one free Welkin Moon Pass, so check out my pinned comment for details on how to enter. So now let's continue on with my build. I'm gonna actually start with Lyney here, and then I'll go back to the top and then just go down the list, I think. The reason I wanted to start with Lyney is because he was my first ever 5-star limited character. I vaguely remember just wishing on Lyney's banner just because I knew he was a DPS. I didn't know anything about the game, I didn't know anything about Lyney, and I did end up winning my 50-50 and getting Lyney as my first 5-star. Looking back, I will say that I don't regret it, but I don't use Lyney very much anymore. I mean, I don't regret it because I really like Lyney as a character. I really like his design. I just love Fontaine characters in general. He's kind of one of the only male characters that I really like, honestly, but now I just don't play him that much anymore, especially because I play on the PS5 with a controller, so the aimed charge attacks are just not it for me. I'm not very good at that. It is much easier on mobile, but on the PS5 I suck at it, so now I tend to not really reach for Lyney. His teams are also a little bit restrictive for my taste, but regardless of that, I love his design and I definitely don't regret pulling him at that time, because honestly I don't think I would pull for him today. So there's that. Anyway, so I do have his signature weapon, which I didn't get like originally. I actually got it by losing on the weapon banner to I don't remember, I think it might have been Arlecchino's weapon. But anyway, he does have a signature weapon, and then I have him on the Marashose Hunter set, but it's not like super optimized. It's definitely not bad. Yeah, it's pretty decent, but again, I don't really play him, so he hasn't really been optimized in quite some time. No cons, and his constellations are at a very humble 664. And then here are his stats. Okay, now I'll just go down the list just from the top here. So Furina, if you guys know already, is my main. I want to say she might have been my second limited 5-star character. yeah, she basically carried my account so much in the earlier game, like especially the walking on water in the early game when I was still exploring like Inazuma and stuff. Absolute lifesaver. Yeah, so I do have her R1, and right now she is on her support Golden Troop artifact set. And then when I have her on her C6 DPS build, I do change her over to my Marechaussee artifact set. You can see more about that on my C6 Furina video if you're interested. And her talents are Triple Crown. This is the only character on my account that I do have Triple Crown. And then here are her stats. I don't think that she's perfected just yet. I do feel that there's room for improvement, but you know, I think her stats are still very good, and I'm not necessarily worrying about minor upgrades as of right now. Next up is Arlecchino. This is also a main of mine. I really love her story. I think her story quest was so good. I really like her cutscenes and her boss battle and stuff. So yeah, I really love Arlecchino. And I do have her R1 as well. I only pulled this recently on her rerun banner. When I first got her, I used her on the white tassel, R5 white tassel, for quite a long time. I think it looks really good on her too. And then I also used her on Emily's signature weapon. I got this when I lost on the weapon banner when I was trying to pull for Yelan's weapon. But yeah, I did use this on Arlecchino for quite some time as well. I think it looks very cute on her. But of course, you just can't go wrong with her signature weapon. It's just tailor-made for her. So I did pull this on her recent rerun. And then I am on the Harmonic Whimsy artifact set. Yeah, there's definitely room for improvement on this artifact set, but this domain is just so annoying to farm, honestly. I just can't really be bothered with upgrading her artifacts very much right now, although I do want to down the line. And I also have her C2, which I pulled on the recent rerun as well, just because Arlecchino is one of my mains, so I just really wanted to go all in. I don't think I will be getting any more constellations. I think her C2 is really amazing, and I'm super happy with it. Arlecchino basically just destroys everything. And then for her talents, I have her 10-8-8, and I do want to triple crown her eventually, but it's pretty expensive, so I haven't gotten around to doing that. And then here are her stats. Again, I think there are some minor improvements that can be made, but I'm not really like stressing over it right now. Next up, I'll talk about Raiden Shogun. Now, this is like my OG, you know, #1 main. She was like the first character that I was really like obsessed with in Genshin. So she has a very, very, very special place in my heart. And then I have her R1 as well. And then she is on the Emblem of Severed Fate. I think Raiden is one of the harder characters to build, in my opinion. I just feel like it's pretty tough to have to balance the perfect crit stats and extremely high ER. But anyway, I do struggle with building Raiden, and I wish I could do better for her, but her domain is also pretty annoying. I have not been able to complete my Raiden build, unfortunately. She is on her C2 though, so definitely has that to help her. And then her talents are 4-8-10. I do want to crown her skill, so hopefully I'll get around to that one day when I have a little more money available, a little more mora. And then here are her stats. Yeah, I'm not super satisfied with this, and I really do wish I could improve her crit stats, but it's so tough. I don't know if I'll be able to really complete her build. I really hope I can, because she's one of my absolute favorite characters in the game. Next up, we have Miko. Miko was actually a very early unplanned pull. I think I got her in like less than 10 pity or something like that, so super happy about that because I really love her character as well. I think she has one of the best voices in the game, like in the English language voice acting. I really love her voice. I have her on, oh, not this one. I have her on the Witzith. I do share this with Yanfei, and then I have her on 4-piece Golden Troop. No cons, and her talents are 3-8-6. And then here are her stats. Next up, we got Navia. I absolutely love Navia. Her character in the story was just so good, and she is just so beautiful. And then oh, that's not the right weapon. I have her signature weapon. It just looks absolutely amazing. I have her on a 2-piece nighttime, 2-piece golden troop. I don't think I will farm for the 4-piece nighttime. I think her build is like good enough here as it is. And then no cons, and her talents are 7, 8, 7. And then here are her stats. I do want to increase her crit rate, but again, it's just not like a super big priority right now. Navia was actually my first like real Geo character that I had on my account, so she definitely saved me in a lot of situations where Geo was needed. Next up, we got Chaska. To be honest, she's not my favorite in terms of like design or story, but her exploration mechanics are just too good to pass up. If you've seen my previous videos, you know I use her all the time in exploration. For her weapon, I share the first grade magic Lyney signature weapon with her, so she's always on this weapon. And then her artifacts are the Obsidian Codex artifact set. I think she got some pretty decent rolls, so I am fairly satisfied with her build. No cons, and then she is 186. I don't really use her for combat that much, mostly for exploration. And then here are her stats. Next up, we got Clorinde, also one of my favorite characters in the game. I just really love Fontaine characters, honestly. I have her R1, and then I have her on a 4-piece gladiator set. I wish I could get the harmonic whimsy set for her, but like I said about arlecchino, I just really am not a fan of that domain, so it's a struggle. No cons, and then her talents are 4, 9, 7. I do want to level those up a little bit more. Here are her stats. Next up, we have Nahida. I have her R1, and actually I have 2 copies of her R1. And then she is on the Deepwood Memories artifact set. She's just on a standard EM build, so I'm not really building her for crit, although I just realized I do have her on this crit circlet. Yeah, I think it's just because the stats on this one is just like pretty bad, so I just left her on this crit rate circlet. Anyway, no cons, and then 6, 8, 7 talents. I should probably level those up a little more because I do use Nahida in Hyperbloom teams fairly often. And then here are her stats. And then next up we have Yelan. I got her fairly recently at the end of Fontaine, I think. And then I do have her signature bow. Sometimes I do use her on the Favonius bow though if I feel like I need more energy on the team. I have her on the Emblem of Severed Fate artifact set. Again, big struggle with this set, but I'm pretty satisfied with her stats. I think it's pretty decent here. No cons, and then 178 talents, which also I do need to level, but they are just so expensive to level. And then here are her stats. Next up, we got Mavuika. I have her weapon at R2 actually because I pulled a double on her weapon banner. I was, considering just leaving the 2 weapons, but I decided to just refine it to R2. 1, because I had the extra Nahida weapon sitting unused for like over a year. I didn't want something like that to happen. Just feel like it's kind of a waste in a way. And then also just because Mavuika is such a strong DPS, why not make her stronger with a couple extra crit damage and attack percentage points? And then I have her on her standard Obsidian Codex build. And then I do have her on an EM sand. I don't know if that's recommended. Okay, so it looks like most people do use her on the attack, but my EM one just has slightly better substats. Like this one has way too much ER, which is completely wasted on Mavuika, so I do have her on EM, and I feel like I've been seeing pretty good numbers because I almost exclusively use her on a melt team. But now that I think about it, I guess I could switch her over to an attack sand if I use her on like an overload team, I guess. So I'll definitely have to think about that next time. And then yeah, these are the rest of her artifacts. No cons. Her talents are 6, 8, 10, and I do plan on crowning this talent. Here are her stats. Next up, we got Kuki Shinobu. She is a staple for my Hyperbloom team. I actually built her pretty recently and I didn't really like commit to finishing her build that much, so I do think she can still improve a little bit. I use her on the Zyphosis Moonlight, and then she is on a 4-piece Gilded Dreams. I only have her C5, so hopefully I can get her C6 soon. Her talents are 195, and here are her stats. Next up, we got Xingqiu. I also use him on my Hyperbloom team mostly. He's on a R5 Wolfang, 4-piece emblem. He's C6, which I got the C6 recently during the Lantern Rite. I decided to choose Xingqiu's constellation for the free 4-star selector so I can finally get his C6. And then his talents are 1911, and then here are his stats. And then we got Bennett here. I use him on the Aquila Favonia. It's only level 80, so I do need to level this up all the way. I have it on a 4-piece Noblesse, and I actually barely farm for Noblesse. As you can see, I have like barely any artifacts for this, but I feel like his build is like pretty good. I just don't have a healing bonus artifact set, or sorry, a healing bonus circlet, which seems to be the recommended piece here, but I just don't have one, and I think his HP one is fine enough. And then he is C6, and his talents are 1711. And here are his stats. And then we got Xiangling. Remember that I am giving away a Xiangling Pop Mart figurine, so check out my pinned comment for instructions on how to enter the giveaway. And I really love this brand new skin. I think it's just so cute. I think the beanie is just really cute. Anyway, so she is on the R5 catch. I do not miss fishing for weapons. And she is on the Emblem of Severed Fate artifact. So many characters on this artifact set. It's pretty tough to be able to balance all those good stats with the set. You know, I haven't even finished leveling some of these. I just don't really use Xiangling that much anymore. And then I have her C6. Talents are 1910. And then here are her stats. And then next up, here we have Sitlali. I do have her ascended to 90, but I just haven't leveled her up just to save some XP books. And then I have her signature weapon as well, also ascended to 90, but just not leveled up yet. And then she is on the Cinder City artifact. I think she should be on a EM circlet, but I don't think I have like a really good EM circlet option, so I just gave her this crit rate one because the stats are pretty good. And I feel like Sitlali does some pretty decent like DPS damage with her burst, so I just kept her on that. No cons, and then we got her at 187 talents. Here are her stats. And then next is Xilonen. Xilonen is probably my favorite Natlan character so far. I really like her design and I really like her character. I enjoyed her story quest a lot and I'm a big fan of her voice acting as well. Her English voice acting, I mean. And then I use her on the Favonia sword. I don't know if I'll pull for her signature, but I'll definitely think about it for her next rerun. Her artifact set is the Cinder City. I do need to finish leveling up some of these, but she's okay for now. No constellations, and then 188 talents. And then here are her stats. And then we got Mizuki. If you saw my last video, I recently built Mizuki. Out of the standard characters, she's definitely my favorite now. I really enjoyed her story quest and she's just super cute. So I have her on Nahida signature weapon, and then the Viridescent Veneer. I didn't finish leveling up some of those just because I ran out of the artifact XP. And then no cons yet, but I do hope I can get some more. And then her talents are 186. And then here are her stats. It should be the same as in my Mizuki video. And then next up we got Xianyun. Xianyun was also a pretty early pull. I wasn't really meaning to get her. I was just kind of gambling basically on the banner. She definitely helped me a lot earlier with exploration because she was my first like exploration helpful character because of her skill jump thing. I have her on the Favonius Codex because ER is super important on her. I have her on the Verdescent Veneer, which I actually just put her on this artifact set. I had her on a 2-piece ER, 2-piece attack set before, so I actually haven't really tested her out on this VV set just yet. No consolations, and then her talents are at a humble 156. I don't really have a plunge character, honestly, so I don't really have a good use for Chongyun. I don't know if I'm going to be pulling for Veressa on the next banner, so we'll see. Here are her stats. Next up, we got Kazuha. I got Kazuha, I feel like, a little too late in the game to really be able to appreciate him. I feel like I didn't really use him that much in my gameplay. But yeah, so for his weapon, I usually do share the Xiphos' Moonlight with him. And then his artifacts are VV. His artifacts definitely do have room for improvement, but again, I just don't really use him that often, so I haven't really felt the need to upgrade him too much. No cons, and then his talents are just 167. And then here are his stats. And then I spoke about Lyney already. I guess I'll just go over these last 4 here. So I have Chongyun here. Chongyun was my very first main. He carried me so much in the early game. I don't know where I would be without Chongyun. He was like my first favorite character in the game, so I love him a lot. For his weapon, I actually do use Verdict on him, and that's because I recently leveled Chongyun up to level 80 and gave him a couple of artifacts that could work for him. I do want to complete his build even more later on. I think maybe, around Snezhnaya release, or when we have some better cryo artifacts and cryo supports, I'm definitely gonna revisit Chongyun's build. I have him only on C5. Unfortunately, I was unable to get his C6 on Furina and Risley's banner. Hopefully I can get his C6 soon, so that way I can really rebuild him. And then his talents are 169. And then here are his stats. Next up, we got Fischl, and Fischl was actually one of the last 4 stars that I got. It took me a while to get her, and I built her pretty recently just to see what all the fuss was about, and yeah, she's great. The fuss was warranted. I use her on the Skyward Harp, and then she is on a 4-piece Golden Troop. I didn't really fully finish her build yet, so she can also see some improvement. She's only on her C2, and then talents are 175. Here are her stats. And then here we've got Chevreuse. I love Chevreuse. I actually got her C6 on her release because that was when I pulled for C2 raiden. So it worked out because I used Chevreuse on overload teams for quite a while, and I have her on the Dialogues of Desert Sage's weapon. Her artifact set right now is Song of Days Past. I don't know if this is a good option for her or if she's better suited for something like Noblesse or something, but anyway, I just have her on this for now. Here's her C6, and then her talents are 110-4, and then her stats don't really matter that much, but she does have 39k HP, which I think is super duper solid. Last for my build overview is Yanfei. If you guys saw my first ever YouTube video, I built Yanfei very recently. She does share the Widsith with Miko. She's on the Marechaussee artifact set. I'm pretty sure this is the same set as the one in my video. She's C6 and her talents are 879. And here are her stats. Yeah, so that's about it for my built characters. The ones below, I wouldn't really say that I have them built. I used Jean a lot in the early game, especially as a healer for Furina, but I really don't find a use for her anymore. And then Charlotte, I also used for quite some time as a dedicated healer for Furina. I'm thinking about rebuilding her as sort of like a DPS Charlotte. I'm not sure, but it's something to think about. I think it seems fun. I've been seeing some stuff about a DPS Charlotte on YouTube and TikTok these days. And then Beidou, I did use her quite a bit in the early game as well, but haven't really built her past level 70. Yao Yao, I also just kind of semi-built just to use her as a healer and like another Dendro character. So I think she's really cute, but she's not super useful honestly, other than being a healer. So I don't really find use for her that much anymore. And then the rest of my characters are not built. These are basically just early game builds. And I have all of the standard characters. Let me see what my constellations are for some of these. I have C2 Chi-Chi, and then my Kaching is also C2, Tainari is C0, Mona C2, Dia C1. I got Dia C1 from the free 5-star selector last year. For the next 5-star selector, I will definitely get Mizuki. And then my Diluc is C0. So yeah, that's the rest of my character roster over here. Sayu was actually the very last 4-star that I got. She was the last one that I needed, so I did get her pretty recently. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my characters. Let me know if you guys have any questions about any of my builds or characters or anything. Just let me know in the comments. Okay, so next up, I guess I'll just go over my teams really quickly. So my first team here are my Fontaine characters. These are some of my favorite characters in the game, so I just have my first team slot made for them. And then my second team here is my friendship team. And then I've got an exploration team here. I might switch out Mavuika for the character that shows you like the regional specialty depending on what I'm farming or what I'm exploring. But yeah, xilonen and Chaska and furina are basically almost always exploring with me. This is my Mavuika team. And then I have the same team essentially for my arlecchino. And then here I have a Hyperbloom team. And then this team is for the harmonic whimsy domain actually. So I usually try to do like an overload team, and then these two I have here for friendship points. Here I have a crystal fly team, which I don't really use anymore, especially because I do use a crystal fly trap. I haven't really felt the need to farm crystal flies that much, but I just keep the team here. And then next up, I just have official team. This is just kind of random, just because I did build Official recently, so I was just testing her out a little bit. And then this team, I just kind of switch around for random domains, like artifact or weapon domains. So it's like partially friendship, and then we've got Furina here carrying the team. And then the last team slot, I will just, switch the characters to whatever I need at any given moment. I guess I'll just quickly show you my inventory. I don't think there's anything too interesting here. Just a quick overview of my 5-star weapons. I'll just scroll down here a little bit. Yeah, so those are my weapons. And then I don't think my artifacts are really that interesting to look at. I have quite a bit that I still need to organize and strongbox and try leveling and stuff. And then for my Sealies, I have the Brilliant Sealy, and then I have the Natlan dragon pet thing. Okay, now I'll show you my map exploration. I'm not like 100%er in the game, so I just kind of explore casually. I explore just for fun. I really do love exploring, but I'm not really concerning myself too much with making everything 100%, although that would be an awesome achievement. I just don't really have the time for it, honestly. Monstat is fairly solid. My Dragonspine, okay, I did not explore Dragonspine like at all. Can you even see? Yes, 5%. I don't even have the teleport waypoints unlocked. I will be needing to challenge myself to come here. The reason I didn't do Dragonspine was because when I unlocked it in the early game, honestly, it was kind of scary. I don't like the coldness thing here, the cold mechanic. So ever since then, I just never really went back. I'll definitely have to go back there and see what's up. And then for leeway, a bit more than half, so not too bad. Again, this is all just like natural exploring, I guess. I almost never look at the interactive map. Even the treasure compass, I only crafted those very recently, maybe 2 months ago. So before that, I wasn't even using a treasure compass. I was just unlocking chests and puzzles that I came across randomly. And then here is my Chenyu Vale, not really explored very well. And then my chasm is only at 53%, or that's the outer chasm. And then Sumeru, It's not too bad, it's a bit more than half. My desert is not really explored, mainly because I just haven't really done the world quests yet. I have nothing against the desert. After I finished Sumeru, I was just rushing to get into Fontaine and do the Fontaine Archon quest, so I never got around to doing these. And then for Fontaine, I also have it a bit more than half here. And then I have the Nostoi region at 100%. It's pretty small anyway. And then Natlan, I do have it at a higher exploration rate, mainly because I was trying to get the rewards for exploring it over 80%. So I was putting in a lot more effort into exploring Natlan recently. My chasm, underground chasm, is 82%. And then in Kanomiya, which I actually did pretty recently at 93%, I actually really liked the Kanomiya world quest and even the smaller quests as well. I really like Kanomiya's music too. It's surprisingly like one of my favorite regions, even though it is pretty dark and gloomy. There's just so much interesting lore down here. Sea of Bygone Eras I only have at 52%. So that's basically it for my exploration. Next, I'll just talk about my Spiral Abyss. Here's my challenge summary. My first 36 star was in August of 2024. I have been able to get 36 star basically every time since. The only time I didn't get it was in January. I do remember this one being a little tough, but at the same time, I only attempted this one time and then I just wasn't really bothered to try attempting it again to get the 36 star, so this was just me being lazy, honestly. My first Spiral Abyss attempt was in January 2024, so it's pretty interesting seeing the changes of my characters and my stats here as we go up and then closer to the present day. And then let's just go on over to the Imaginarium Theater. Okay, so I haven't done the Imaginarium Theater for this month just yet. I'll do that soon. For February 2025, that was my first time having enough characters for Visionary mode, and I was able to get 10 stars. I want to say it took me like an hour or something. Like, I was resetting so many times. I also don't really know how to use some of these opening characters just because I don't own them, you know, so, or I don't play them, so it was a bit of a struggle trying to use them. But other than that, I usually do hard mode and I have been able to get 8 stars. Usually I would mainly just be doing the hard mode. I don't think I have enough characters for Visionary mode for a lot of the elements. Oh, and I also wanted to mention that my traveler of choice was Ether. It's mainly because Ether looks a little more like me, I guess. We both have short hair. That's kind of the only reason. I am not blonde, nor am I white. But yeah, so that is why I chose Ether. Okay, next I will show you my achievements, I suppose. I am not an achievement hunter by any means. I don't really care about the achievements that much. It's like if I get them, I get them. I guess the only one I'll show you is the crit damage one. My highest recorded crit damage looks like it was 2 million. I don't believe this was just like natural raw damage. This was definitely from an event. And then as for my quests, I do have quite a bit that's not finished. A lot of story quests that are not done. Yeah, I really need to get on this. Hangout quest, the only one I've done is Chongyun, but I did finish the Natlan quests. And then my name cards. So these are all of my name cards. I guess the only like special ones, I have the McDonald's collab name card here, and then this name card, I got it from attending the Genshin concert last year in Chicago. And then I'll just show you my profile here. I have 24 characters at max friendship level. The reason that my profile picture is Kujo-Sara is actually from the recent Inazuma event. I felt a bit of a kinship with Kujo-Sara and her obsession with Raiden Shogun because same. I actually do change my profile picture and name card pretty frequently, so it might be someone else the next time. The last thing I'll show you is my sereniteapot. Don't be too surprised, but it is completely empty. I think I have Paimon over there. Yeah, there's Paimon. Okay, yeah, it looks a little bit creepy when you look at it this way, but they're honestly just here for the friendship points. And then I think these little figurines are so cute. The last thing I do want to go over is what is next on my account. As for future pulling plans, I do want to get Emily for sure. I mean, I already have her weapon and I do like her design as well. I'm definitely going to get her on her next rerun. I also do want to get Chiori because I really like her design, but I'm not really sure yet, so we'll see about that. I don't really care for the male characters that much, so I don't really have any outstanding plans to pull for them. I would only kind of want to get Wander because of the nickname I gave him, which is Squilliam. Yeah, don't ask, it just felt right at the time. I definitely want to get Skirk. I also do want to get Effie, which is one of the silhouette characters. I believe she's going to be like a cryo support according to some speculation that I saw. Yeah, I don't have a lot of these older characters mainly just because I wasn't playing the game at the time. I hadn't started the game yet, so when I joined around Fontaine, I did focus more of my efforts on getting the Fontaine characters. I'm not sure if I ever really plan to pull for these guys, but that is about it for my account tour. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I'm not quite as eloquent as in my scripted videos, but I hope you were still able to enjoy. Thank you for watching and see you next time.